Excellent. You know how we begin these things. Roll call.
Hiya.
Ryan.
Oh no.
Mikey?
Mikey.
Oh, my headset got muted. Muted. Mikey.
Kyle.
And Steven. Huh. Well, alright, excellent. Everybody's here. Good to get that out of the way. That's how we do roll call. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 22 of our Elemental Evils campaigns with the Odd Jobs for part, I guess, technically 1 of Bounty in the Bog? I'm going to call it 1. This feels, for realsies, the way to go. Anyways, thank you, everybody. Last week we were off, so welcome back. Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there, and to all you non-dads. Well done, you've dodged the bullet.
All you non-dads, happy Daddy Day.
Yeah, happy Daddy Day. Nice. Nice, Sue. Anyways, when we last left our adventurers, apologies for the first, 30 minutes of episode 21 not being there. Thank you, Omari, once again, for always catching us up on when we're not actually streaming, so apologies there. But the first half of our episode kicked off with the party learning from Zanzan Tavish about the ever-growing complicated web of nefarious dealings of cult members and ranking officials in Mulemaster. Learning about the continued involvement of the captain of the Hawks. Learning about... Ooh, hold on 1 second, guys. Somebody just knocked on the door. Be right back.
Wizards of the Coast, open up.
You're right.
I was about to say, oh my god, Sark Tulliver, I heard you talking shit.
Bet it's like, hey, do you want solar panels on your house? 'Cause I get dudes doing that every week. Every week. No. I mean, yeah, I do, but not now, and not from you. I want to sit down for dinner.
The one thing I enjoy about not living in a house right now.
We get calls like, well, Evelyn gets calls all the time. Hey, can we buy your house? It's like, no. We wanted to sell our house. We would, put it up for sale.
I would text you like, yo, good news, I checked and your value's still great for you.
Right.
Here at Enterprise Rental, they give you the tools. Make a difference.
Apologies, I've returned. So, as I was saying, Zanzan revealed the machinations of Captain Sark Tulliver, Captain of the Hawks, and continued nemesis of the Odd Jobs. Also learning about an interest in Thavian inside of Mulemaster, one Azak Thorm, who had been a sort of mentor figure to Zanzan, leading him to eventually being turned to it as a spy. As they found out, Zanzan, after being discarded by his mentor, had been forced into leading this kind of expedition down to find this Rod of the Pact Keeper. The events of our last adventurers catching up to him at that moment, the rod forcefully binding itself to Zanzan. Being stuck between a rock and a hard place, the party suggested that Zanzan travel into the Underdark with the Flump Lal. After deciding that going into the Underdark and traveling with Lal was probably the better option between the horrors of what awaited him up sight, Lal asked our adventuring party to retrieve the body of her mate, Zol, after a rather grotesque and rather brutal execution of the fighting cult member previously led by Zanzan. Freddy went topside and rather skillfully convinced the City Watch to relinquish Zol's body to him, using his College of Creation ability to create a bassinet, floating Zol's body to be reunited with Lal, and Zanzan and Lal walking deeper into the sewers of Mulemaster to head into the Underdark for whatever adventures lay waiting them. Lal promising that other flumps and perhaps other denizens of the Underdark would hear of the odd jobs, heroism, and generosity for the days to come. The party returned to the surface, retrieving a funerary mask and a necklace, as well as their compensation from Sergeant Maskier, who pointed them in the direction of Captain Gideon Hulk, a captain within the City Watch, who was looking for some adventurers to explore some altercations happening on the North Road Keep south of Mulemaster. The party decided, and with some suggestions, to go visit Captain Gideon Hulk the following day, taking some time to sell off their wares, and with a fat sack of gold in hand, the party returned to the Oxpit Tavern, having many a drink, having deep talks with one another about their shared histories, and sorting things out, as well as an incredible series of rolls from the Vomit Comet, who did not make an appearance, getting down an impressive, I believe, 5 whole Rornaks without crit failing. Sure. For the first time for many of our party members, having a moment of levity, of camaraderie, and a whole lot of drinks, with even Jasper staying the night in the Oxpit Tavern, and with Freddy manning the fort with drinks of water and some excellent playing, even with 2 still broken fingers, returned back to the Tower of Arcane Might to rest for the evening. In the morning, the party reconvened, went on a bit of a shopping spree, with Jasper retrieving a new set of unmarked breastplates, Jove getting a Ethereum spear, beautiful +1 weapon as well, and Rory getting enough darts to last the rest of the campaign. The party headed to the South Road Keep and was escorted to Captain Gideon Hulk's quarters, where the captain was a rather sly and, at least on the surface, welcoming individual, explaining to the party a number of recent attacks on the roads between Mulemaster and Raven's Bluff / Tantris, a set of cities along the coast of the Sea of Fallen Stars in a realm called the Fast, south of where Mulemaster lies in the Moonsea. The attacks had becoming ever alarming, however, a strange string of events where the attackers only taking food and gold and leaving behind all sorts of other items, instead of typically what you would expect a group of bandits to be stealing from the many caravans that go up and down the South Road, or the North Road. However, Captain Gideon Hulk, having not the resources or perhaps the willingness to send the City Watch of Mulemaster out into the roads, has called upon our adventurers to do so, meeting with Enghara Hedix, a rather wealthy Nomus merchant who is slated to take a caravan all the way down to Tantris. Captain Gideon Hulk has agreed to pay the party with some hard dealing from Jasper, 250 gold pieces to deal with the bandits, an extra 50 gold for everyone returned to Mulemaster alive to be made an example of. We now return to the party with the last words of Captain Gideon Hulk, in a rather straightforward way, telling the party to avoid telling Enghara Hedix that she is being used as a bait to draw these bandits out. The party is led to where Enghara is set up, two wagons laden with a number of boxes covered over on one wagon in the back of various goods, all of it neatly shipped away and packed up. There's a set of two dwarvish women, rather well armed and guarded, off to the side, loading what seems to be some of these crates into the wagons, and a pair of gnomish, you'd have to guess, on the younger side of what we'd consider like the gnome 20s, who are navigating in and out of the caravan, seemingly following each other in a small display of acrobatics. Enghara Hedix, a proud gnomish woman with a number of gaudy necklaces, rings, wrist bracelets, as she kind of sees you approach and stands up to introduce herself. You can hear her kind of jangling away in a slightly gaudy fashion. She turns to you all and greets you. Ah, you must be my ordained entourage. Good morning, I'm Enghara Hedix. Pleasure to meet you all. Who am I addressing?
Joe Featherfoot, of Featherdale. It's a pleasure to meet you and be your travel companion.
You may call me Rornak. As Jove said, a pleasure to be helping you. And he'll extend a hand.
And she takes the hand and, with a clang of many golden rings, kink, 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 shakes your hand.
Fred Lap.
Jasper.
Well, I'm going to assume that you're all Captain Hulk's people. I assume that you're all going to be traveling down with us on our way to Tantris. Or at least that's what the captain would like, right?
That is, as far as we understand our job.
All right. I've got 3 rules. If you're going to be traveling with me and the rest of my crew right here. Number 1. Don't ask me about my cargo. It's none of your business. I'm not opening up any of it. Second, when you make camp for the night, you gotta make sure that yours is set up away from where my goods are. Third, if trouble comes up, I'm expecting you to be able to fight. You do well, and I got something extra for each one of you. Sound amicable?
Yeah?
She looks towards the rest of you.
Easy enough rules to follow, in my opinion.
Yes, ma'am. If you're familiar at all with the Featherfoot Express, it's actually in the family. I've spent more than a few years taking care of caravans going winding up and down roads, so you've got a few professionals on board.
Yeah, what they said.
A Featherfoot, huh? Oh, good. Your reputation precedes you, then this should just be standard operating procedure for you, shouldn't that?
Indeed.
Wonderful. Well, let me introduce you to the rest of, and she looks over towards the 2 gnomes. Family. Hey, Rod, Fen, get over here. And the two twins both kind of stop there, scurrying like around the wagons, and both kind of with a small flip, a bit of acrobatic flair. They both land and kind of roll up. You can see that they're both young. They have the same hair color as Enghara. Of course, theirs isn't streaked with gray at this point. You can see that they themselves also seem to have a fair bit of rings on, as well as on their on their clothing. You can see bits of like clips and pins, all ranging from gold to silver, although theirs doesn't cling together the way Enghara's does. And they greet you all and say, "Oh, hey. Hey. How are you? Nice to meet you. I'm Rod. I'm Fen. Sup. They kind of switch off. It's weird. It's like a routine, but it's so flawless as they go back and forth, just trading each other's sentences. They even almost move in tandem. Kind of like giving you the looking at you, Jove. They are actually shorter than you are.
Jove takes no small pleasure in that, but doesn't say anything about it.
These two right here, and Hara picks up. These are my nephews. Quite frankly, they're not good for much except jumping around. But somebody has to watch after them. So, keep mind on your valuables. They got sticky fingers, as you can see. What? Nuh-uh, nuh-uh. Not a one bit, Anhara. Yeah, exactly. What do you got against us? We're just taking out after you. And she kind of looks and takes one of the rings and throws it, and it bounces off the both of them with an incredible amount of precision and accuracy. My rogue days are over, and you shouldn't be following in those footsteps. There's nothing good where I come from, and nothing good for you down that path. This is more honest. As she goes and retrieves one of her rings and places it back on her wrist. She then leads you all over to the two dwarven sisters. As it turns out, she introduces this would be Deira and Magrari, Ember Axes. Some mercenaries that I used to run with back in my roguish days. They keep a close eye on the caravan, and the both of them have a light kind of amberish beard to them, as many dwarven women do. However, you can see that one has, when people don't have their teeth and they can make their jaws go up way higher because there's no teeth to stop it. I don't know what that exact phrase is called, but you can see that one of them definitely is holding their whole mouth up like that in that gesture. The one of them kind of nods. The one with the strange old person mouth lip teethless thing nods to you all. And the other one says, "Hi, I'm Daria. How are you now?"
Good, and you?
"Not so bad. This is my sister Mag. Don't mind her. She doesn't speak all that much on the count, so there's nothing in that mouth. Go ahead and show them, Mag." And Mag opens up her mouth, and there's no teeth at all, and also, strangely, no tongue either. She closes, nods, and you can see, with a certain amount of amusement, depending on your reactions to that.
How old are they?
You'd gotta be guessed that they're probably closer to middle-aged in dwarven years. Dwarves typically live for about, I believe it's about 400 years, 400 to 600, depending on the dwarf. So you're probably guessing 200. Definitely not old age.
It's not every day you see a toothless dwarf. What's that all about? Does she just constantly eat acid or something?
And Bag looks over to you in this kind of, if you could call it a laugh, it's more of like a bunch of really fast in and out inhales, like as Dara looks over to you. No, not a mouthful of acid. Close though. Mouthful of this real nasty creature that's up in the Icewind Dales. Burrows in through the mouth. If you kill it fast enough, it'll only take out your teeth and your tongue. If you don't, it goes all the way through you and then nests inside your body. Real nasty.
Well, it sounds like Mag's a quick thinker then, and I appreciate to have a couple more hands with us just in case things do get feisty on the road. I assume that you both are battle worthy?
Oh yeah, we can We're not known as Emberax for no reason, I'll tell you that. And you can see that both of them are indeed strapped with a. They're both big, large battle axes, but you can see on kind of the outsides of it, there does seem to be an ember-like design to it, almost like small flames. Not quite Hot Wheel flames on the side of an axe, but definitely has that kind of motif.
We always
Well-
appreciate the help.
When are we heading out?
Inghara turns to all. We should be leaving in better part of an hour, so if there's anything you all need to do, get ready for it. The trip down to Tantris takes, from here, about 6 or 7 days or so.
All right, we'll get preparing.
She nods to you all and then gathers her crew and begins getting the last of her things loaded, getting some of the horses that are ready, that sort of thing. Leaving you a moment to collect your things and your thoughts.
I'm gonna like start to head out, and then I guess once we're all out of like earshot and stuff, I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna do my magic eyesight thing and see if I can just, get an idea of what's in those crates if they're magical. But I think I'm ready to go, so I think I'm just gonna hang out here and try and figure out as much as I can without breaking any of the rules.
Hmm. You
If
might-
it's- If we're gonna be gone for 6 or 7 days, I need to send word to Ilva that I'm gonna have to reschedule.
That's cute.
Freddy, you take a look while you can. I might actually consult with Ilmater on that as well.
Alright, well, Jasper's gonna hop too. She's not gonna waste time. She's gonna, like, write a quick letter or a quick, like, note. And, I don't know. Would I be able to find, like, some orphan or just some kid?
Oh, like a
running around
courier?
Yeah.
How much money are you throwing out?
2 gold should be reasonable, right?
Before, like, you hold out the 2 gold. It's quite common to go to to corners in Mulmaster and click coins on it. It's kind of like it's like hailing a taxi for couriers, and you get
Gotcha.
2 gold pieces, and bink bink, and foom foom. Immediately there is probably looking pre-teens, aged, and this kid said, "What can I do for you?"
I need you to deliver this to oh shit, what place does
The
she work
Leaning
at?
Boot.
Leaning Boot. I need you to deliver this to the Leaning Boot. Just give it to one of the people working there. Tell them it's for Ilva.
And like, boom, has the letter, extends the handout.
I hand it to them, and the note more or less says, something came up. I'm going to have to postpone our meeting.
And just as fast as this kid appears, he is sprinting towards the Leaning Boot. And your message is sent.
Thank you, thank you.
Joe, is there anything you need to get done?
Y'all wanted to hit up the Shrine of Malar just to make sure that he's checking in with his Emerald Enclave people if he's going to be out that long. So, that's what I would like to do.
Yeah, all right, absolutely. First, I'll go over to Rornak. We'll start with you with Ilmater. What would you like to be doing?
Yeah, so I wanted to break out the augury box that I had and just ask a couple of questions there.
Yeah, absolutely. You are not terribly away from the the House of Suffering. But of course, you can consult the box pretty much anywhere you would like.
I guess if I have time to comfortably go to the House of Suffering, I might do that just so I can like have a good spot to kind of like meditate on it and focus on the box.
Yeah, you head over to the House of Suffering and go to the small shrine of Ilmater. You are wordlessly let in. You see a couple of the brothers and sisters that facilitate the house and nod at you in their almost identical skull caps and gray clothing. As you go and you sit at the small shrine. The small statuettes with the hands in red twine and the small set of candles and incense. Barely perceivable among the kind of low lighting and sanitized roofs of the House of Suffering. And you sit and you meditate and you open up the box and place it beneath the shrine, and with its assortment of coins and dies and other accoutrements. You focus on the box. What do you focus on?
I think Rornak is just gonna kind of ask some questions and focus more on kind of like the trip that is coming up. So I think the first one that he would like focus on is specifically whether the cargo that we're gonna help transport right now, if that will be the source of misfortune for my party.
You hold all the pieces in the box and you focus in on that, and you place your hands back down across it, letting it kind of fall in this kind of prayer to Ilmater. And as it falls, you see that the bit of bone is surrounded by these kind of coins. And the coin of Ilmater flips kind of hands open and up, and weal and woe is what you see.
Rornak will ask a follow-up question. Will delivering these goods bring about suffering to others?
And you focus in on that. Hold on. Looking back down, the coin has flipped to the other side. And the coins have spread from the bone. Everything almost aligned. You interpret that as weal.
I guess the last one then that he would ask while consulting would just be with our business partners. Would it be I guess he would just ask if our new companions then, if they are, if if they are trustworthy in any sense.
And as you come to a close on this, you feel almost kind of this increase of the incense as you breathe in the light, kind of sweet smell. And looking back down, you see a set of the of 5 pieces, all with the open hands of Ilmater centered around it. And you interpret that as wheel.
Okay. All right. I think that's all the questions that he will focus on for that. So, I imagine Rornak will then just kind of take that time to just go into more of a general meditative state and just kind of, just kind of let his thoughts out and uncloud himself while he has some time before he packs up and heads back to meet up with the group.
Absolutely. While this is going down, we'll jump over to Jove as you go to the Shrine of Malar.
He's gonna pluck the fruit from Yavindel's tree, but like before he takes a bite, he really just kind of wants to like check the area, and he just wants to kind of do a scan, looking around and making sure that like I don't know, nobody followed him, or there's no like no hanger-ons or people listening.
Go ahead and do a perception check.
Perception is going to be 15.
15. You see that it appears that there's an individual inside the Shrine of Malar, not terribly far away from where your tree and Yavindel's are planted. And looking in, you can see that they are hammering what appears to be a new trophy into the Shrine of Malar, across the dozens of odd trophies, as well. It looks to be some sort of mangled paw. However, besides this hunter, you do not see anyone else.
He's satisfied with that, and we'll take a bite of the fruit.
You bite into the fruit, and a few moments later, yeah, Yavindale.
Hey there, Yavin. It's Jove. I don't got much time. My party's waiting on me, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update of what was going on. We just spent about a day down in the sewers and came across a flump. Was able to learn a little bit about that flump, and I guess there's some stuff going on in the Underdark, and they were pushing out through. But the long and the short of it is we met up with another human down there, and we went down into a real kind of gross sarcophagus type of thing, and the poor fella got bound to a rod of the pack keeper. But the upshot of all of that is that he had been set up. He was talking conspiracy at the highest order, saying that there's rotten mole master that goes all the way to the top, and well, that doesn't surprise me too much. It sounds like there might be some cultish actions that are happening with even the High Blade. So I'm about to be leaving town, going down south to help clear out some bandits here, and I could be gone from, possibly a 10-day or more. So just wanted to let you know that things are still moving here. Things are well, I wish things were getting better, but it sounds like the more me and my colleagues are getting in here and solving problems, it seems like solve one problem in find 300. So
Thanks for the update, Jove. I'm not surprised. Well, Master's always been a shitty place. Not surprised it's only getting shittier. I should be returning back, finishing up everything here for Elmswood soon. I've been hearing some troubling stuff from a sister of mine over in Elventree, over kind of closer towards Hillsfar, of some other activity. Sounds like it's not just Mole Master that's starting to get riled up with all sorts of you-know-what. Ever since Flan fell, it felt like the moon sea's darkening. But that's why people like us are around, Jove. We'll keep fighting against it. I'll reach out to you once I'm back in the city, and if you beat me first, I'll hear from you then. You're doing a really good job here.
Well, that means a lot coming from you, Yavendale. I appreciate it. We are fighting for something beautiful here. Moonsea's always been my home, even if it's not all like Featherdale. So, yeah, I appreciate your time and know you're doing the hard work, and I'll keep doing my job out here. Talk to you soon.
Grow strong, Spring Warden. And the connection ends.
Jove will go and return to the party.
And then, last but not least, Freddy, you perform your ritual and you turn on your magic eyes. Go ahead and roll me a perception check on Anghara's caravan.
All right. Oh, 19.
19. Looking around, you take a good look at the two different wagons, and no, none of it, not even Anghara herself, seems to radiate with any magic.
Nothing coming from inside the boxes.
Nothing coming from inside the boxes. No pings. It all
Nothing
seems...
from the toothless woman.
Nothing from the Toothless Woman either. You especially take a look at those battle axes with that 19, and it all appears to be just normal Caravan goods.
Okay.
Jasper actually has a couple things. Go ahead, Freddie.
I'm gonna go up to Ankara, just say, so it's kind of my thing. I kind of play music to kind of get everyone's nerves down. I don't know if you have anybody like that, but I normally do that. So I was wondering if there was any kind of music y'all would appreciate hearing on during downtimes, just so I could get some songs prepared for y'all.
Huh, Bard, huh? Well, do you know anything from Ten Towels? Anything from up north? A lot of the music down here is kind of, I don't know, mushy.
I'm gonna be honest with you, as I roll a 9 history. Most of my most of the music that I end up playing is kind of just like from my feelings. It's kind of like how my bard magic works. Is I just kind of like conjure the song from the way that my fingers feel. But if you can give me the idea of a feel of one of those songs, I could probably figure something out.
Feel of Ten Town music. It's a hard one to explain. It's cold and sharp. The outside's always roaring, but our music is strong. It's got a real power to it. Not so much heat, more just a steadfastness to it.
Okay, let me give it a shot. And so I'm just gonna kind of go for it, and I'm gonna kind of play like this melancholy yet hopeful, just like tune of strength, but reserved. And I'm also going to use my my magic instrument that lets me make an effect, and I'm just gonna have like little wisps of white wind blowing around it.
Go ahead and roll me a performance check.
Oh, 17.
17. The with the effects of kind of the wind, it's almost kind of like watching like a small snowstorm kind of happen around you, and just like the music kind of piercing through. It's like this image of like this white wisp kind of swirling around you, and it goes in and out, and like as you play along, it's almost like you like split the storm apart until it's like on both sides of you. And Anghara watches, and suddenly you see her nephews both watching. Even the two Dorvis sisters pause for a second and look at what you're doing, and you finish. And Anghara, with a number with a quick kind of couple of claps, matched only by the jingling first, says, "That was pretty good. Definitely not Ten Tails music, but Ten Town's music, but pretty damn good nonetheless. I'm surprised. I don't see a lot of people so bold as to add a little magical pizzazz so close to Mole Master."
Well, I mean, I'm in my own right, and I'll show her the pendant.
A bona fide cloak.
Yeah, I don't like to show it off as to, not be too gaudy and feel like I'm all about myself. But it's nice to have the freedoms to do what I need to with my magic.
If you're asking me, kid, if you've got it, flaunt it, she says, and they accompany once again by another chorus of jingling and jangling from her jewelry.
And you flaunt what you've got, be it magical or not. Especially
Thanks,
once
Fred.
we leave Mole Master, nothing. I'm not on cloak business once we leave Mole Master. How about that?
You know, I was just about to ask you if this happened to be something with the cloaks. I mean, you guys typically don't leave the city, so I'd be interested to hear some of the stories you have. Maybe we can swap tales tonight on our journey.
I'll get some non-classified stuff ready for you.
Oh, now that's worth hearing. And as she says that, Freddy, after giving everything the once-over casting, you can see your party members beginning to return. As you all kind of head towards this. Oh, actually, Jasper, you said you wanted to do something?
I did. I actually have two things. It'll take a minute, but they're important. So the first one is the quick one. She wants to run to the or the Shrine of Mask and trade out the bandaged mask and the light tan cloak for something else.
Okie dokie. Let me get my masks table. Okay, Kai. Slash Jasper, as you hand that gold over, you begin with your increased mobility through the streets of Mulmaster, heading towards the Shrine of Mask on this kind of early morning. The sun now illuminating one side of the Mask shrine, while the other side is still cast in shadow. You enter in, moving the arm up and opening the door, and go ahead and roll me a D100.
Okey-dokey. That is a 91.
A 91. Okay. You find a delicate clay mask shaped in such a way that it sits perfectly on the face, kind of covering like the forehead, the bridge of the nose, and hanging almost off the ears, more of like closer to like a visor of a mask rather than like the full face mask that you are used to. The mask is stern. It's emotionally neutral with black lines accenting kind of the hard edges and sweeping curves on an otherwise kind of neutral, bland kind of color. The clay itself being like a beige almost. And it sits on your
Beautiful.
face. Yes. It is called well, it has its own little name, but we'll just call it the clay mask for now.
Any cloak to go with that?
Roll me a d10.
Okie dokie. 3.
A 3, you find an equally kind of like beige kind of colored coat. It almost matches. It's got small accents of dark kind of black lining on it, holding the buttons and such. It is medium kind of textured in its density.
Beautiful.
As you go out the other side with your new accoutrement.
Beautiful. And she is going to switch into those and run across town back home because she needs to let Kirk know that she is going to be gone for a bit.
Speeding across, go ahead and roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah,
Because
that's
you are running to 3 separate corners of the city as fast as you can.
That would be bad, but I have a good con, so 12.
12. You indeed, you are able to make it there. You are breathing rather heavy by the time you get back, but with some speed and the end of the morning shadows, you're able to sneak back to your house and see Kirk, who
Beautiful.
who sees you and is, so late night, huh? As you kind of open and little bit of the light, and you could see kind of catches him in the eye.
Well, yeah, it was a long night, and we ended up drinking, and it was a bit of a shit show, so getting back in here would have been a bit of a pain. But
Why are you so out of breath?
I have a job I'm already supposed to be doing right now, so that's why I'm back here actually, because it might take up to 9 days, and well, I want to make sure you're safe. And she pulls out her bag of gold and pours out 100 gold, and hands it to him. And then says, if for any reason you get the impression that my mother is catching on to you, any red flags whatsoever, I want you to take this and run to the Zent ghettos. Go to a place called the Black Blade. It looks not very reputable, but there's a man there named Equaz. If you tell him I'm an associate of yours, and actually, yeah, make sure you have that mask with you. He will hand him 25 of this gold. He should keep you safe until I return, but I don't want to leave you here without any lifelines. I know that's a lot to take in, but I mean, you're well aware of how dangerous this has all been for the both of us, so I hope you understand the precaution.
Kirk takes kind of like this dumping of gold as some of it like falls to the ground, and
She'll pour it onto the bed or something so it's not just scattered.
it looks at it and then looks at you and reaches forward and with the quick movement just kind of taps you right in the middle of the forehead rather hard and says, as long as you're back before the art gallery show, you're fine. Your mother's too busy with all of it Zora shit and whatever it is, the fuck that she does when she's not talking shit to you. As long as you're back towards then, you're fine. Just
Okay. Well,
don't fuck it up.
leave this as a standing lifeline. Don't forget Blackblade, Equaz, Saint Ghetto.
Yeah, all
and,
very, very lovely things.
Yes. I just want to make sure you're safe. And also, last time I spoke to my mother, she only seemed half convinced by my my enthusiasm about my date, so she might be a little bit more on edge than normal. She didn't It wasn't a total red flag, but I just want you to know that.
I'll keep it in mind. You know, luckily, in many ways, I'm basically invisible to your mother. So, you know, don't worry about it. Just don't ever refer to it as drow crafts. Makes it sound
Yes,
like
that
a.
was I was a bit too in character there. I am sorry for that.
Yeah, I'm not. What am I? Fucking caretaker? You know what? Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna take this gold and put it somewhere place. I'll see you when I can fucking deal with you.
Deal. And she actually hugs him.
And Kirk feigns for a moment, like and then hugs you in return. And you're not a particularly short woman. In fact, you would say that. Yeah. How tall is Jasper?
Jasper is 5'10".
5'10". Yeah. Kirk's probably closer to like 5'8". Dark elves aren't typically on the incredibly tall side. So he's kind of folds into you rather than him folding over you. And all right, that's enough. Not the
Yes.
last one. Go.
Yeah, don't get too sentimental. And she runs out. And then, yeah, returns to the party.
So as the party reconvenes, Rory and Jove, looking in a number of ways refreshed from theirs, and then here comes Jasper. She all reconvene.
This is a question probably geared more towards the outsiders. Sorry, Lappy, it's probably just not something that you know much about. What do y'all know about the 10 towns?
Did I roll history on that?
Yeah,
Both
maybe.
of you go ahead and roll history. Jasper, go ahead. You could roll history with disadvantage.
Got a flat 10.
Flat 10.
That's a 15 for Rory.
15. Jasper?
A 5?
A 5.
So close.
He,
so close.
Correct. You, Icewind Dale? Sounds. Oh, Icewind Ale is immediately what you think. Jove, you know that it is very far north and very far west from here. You know that it is a cold place, and that's about it. Rory, you know that same kind of information that's very far up in towards the north. The Icewind Dale is a very cold place, even more hostile than the Glacier of the White Worm, or leading up to the monastery. That the people there are incredibly tough. It's incredibly dangerous, and that 10 Towns is like the only real settlement up there. That's about the bulk of it that you would know from there. That it is that some of the things that you have either heard or read or speak about the monastery, that comparatively it is a place that would cause perhaps even some of your own members of the Monastery of the Yellow Rose to take pause. Truly a place where you could test yourself against the elements.
Ronak then would say, from what I know, it's a pretty rugged place. From the far northwest of here. We're talking very cold and rough weather, even compared to the east and the glacier. As far as I know, 10 Towns is pretty much the only settlement, but I couldn't tell you much more than that. I've never been there.
Yeah, Icewind Dale's is the worst of the Dales.
Well, that's the kind of people we're dealing with. So guide that guide your assumptions as you will with that knowledge, but that's where it seems like all these folks from.
Well, I would judge that they're certainly not afraid of weathering elements. That's for sure.
DM, can I
Oh,
ask you? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Yes.
I was just gonna ask, since Jove has a lot of experience with merchant caravans and that kind of stuff, it's pretty. I would imagine it's pretty standard procedure of like, yeah, you don't fuck around with the cargo. Like, I guess the crux of the question is, does that set off any alarm bells for Jove, or is this just like, oh yeah, you just don't fuck with the cargo?
Um, if you were hired onto the job, like if you were actually hired to do that, that would send off a bit of a red flag. Though it's not like in the caravan business, there's always times where people are moving stuff around, and sometimes you don't. That information isn't necessary always to protecting a caravan, so that's not uncommon for you not to know what you're traveling with. But as somebody who's just like tagging along to ask about it, it's not a little weird, but it's also not a little uncommon. So that really kind of depends on how Job wants to interpret this. It's not incredibly out of the norm, especially since you're coming onto that as not even hired help, as real hired help. But it's also, not as transparent as other caravan jobs you've been on.
Thank you.
That actually kind of leads into my next thing that I was going to say. The other thing that it should lead our assumptions on is why someone from that far away is out here moving cargo. And the way that she's so protective about it kind of makes me think that it's hers. Now, why is she moving cargo special to her that far? I don't know.
Well, being in the family business and all, we were going around all through the Moon Sea. I mean, we typically kept it here, but I met folks that were traveling long distances, and maybe that's just where home is, and that's not where it is now. I will say that most of the time I was on our own Featherfoot Express caravan, and so I knew what was in the in our crates and containers. But if I was ever hiring on extra help to help guard through a particularly bad patch of land, I wouldn't tell the passengers or anybody else what was necessarily in our stuff. That way, just in case anybody's got some sticky fingers, they're not going through our things. So, the way she said it, I'm with you, Freddie. Sounding kind of weird, but I don't know. Gnomes are kind of eccentric, and I just kind of chalked it up to that. But at least from my experience, it's not like, oh, this is totally unheard of. So she's just probably trying to got a good deal on something here in Mulemaster or whatever, and wants to take it down south and sell it for a profit. Can't really blame her for that.
I'm probably letting my assumptions get the best of me because Mulemaster is probably a place where you'd want to avoid sticky fingers as much as possible. I forget at times that people aren't as good at navigating around sticky fingered folks as the people from this area are.
Always
Speaking
good.
Go ahead.
It's always good to have a sharp mind, Freddie. Appreciate that.
For what it is worth, too, during our time, I did actually consult with my god Ilmater on this trip, and I did actually receive a few messages from him. From what I understand, seemed to get mixed results on whether this cargo would lead to misfortune or trouble for us. Seems like it may lead to trouble for other people if it is delivered, but curiously, I received a sign that our companions don't appear to be untrustworthy. At the very least, they may be secretive, but I do not think they are trying to stab us in the back here. So, I have maybe some confidence in them, but the cargo does still seem to be a bit of an enigma.
Well, that's somewhat comforting. Speaking of keeping things under wraps, though, Fred, I've been meaning to mention, uh, when we're on a job, and particularly when it's not just the four of us, do try to be careful about letting slip our particular connection. When we were down in the tomb with Zanzan, you definitely just kind of called it out, and if things didn't turn out well with him, I would have had to kill him for that. So just try to keep that on the wraps, you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're really sweaty, Jasper. Were you testing out that new armor? It does look a little bit lighter than the last set you had.
Yeah, I just when I realized how far and how long we would be gone, I had to make sure that my ducks were in a row, so to speak. I have I have someone counting on me, and I don't want to fuck that up.
Well, I've been counting on you for a while, and you haven't fucked up so far, so it seems to be like a positive character trait of yours. So maybe you'll
Well,
get the first seat on the caravan. Wouldn't want you to be too tired, you know.
that means a lot, Jove. Thank you.
As you all finish chatting, you hear call outs. Hey, the rest of y'all ready? As Enghara calls out to you, you can see that the 2 wagons have been loaded. The horses are hitched up. They are ready to begin the journey.
Let's get it going then.
Get it?
You begin traveling out. The wagons are fully loaded, both being pulled by a singular horse. Straight line. As you're heading out, this is the main entrance out of Mulemaster, so you can see that there is a healthy number of individuals coming in and out of the city, being stalked by the city watch as they enter, some of the cargo being looked at, others being what is very clearly a shakedown at the gate. The very well worn, the huge amount of traffic that could come in and out potentially of Mulemaster. As you go past all this and begin heading down south, let's pull up our handy dandy map and orient ourselves on said map of where we're at and where we're going. So, if we pull out the first map in our pinned, it'll bring up the Moonsea. We are up here in Mulemaster. If you look, we're going to be following this main road down. Enghara is destined for Tantris. You can see that as a region in the vast. So you'll be heading out around, heading away from River Dalton and Fort Dalton, and then skirting just outside of where the flooded forest happens. And it is that area, that strip of land, as you are making your way, kind of that gap where the flooded forest and the road meet, that is where you guys know the attacks have been happening. Jove, you know by boat that it takes only a half day to get down to Fort Dalton, but on foot to get to that area, it'll take about a day and a half, especially since since you're pulling 2 wagons as well to get all the way down to Tantris. It does take, a better part of 5 to 6 days. However, your party's concerned is what happens about 2 days out from Mulemaster. That is where we'll begin our journey. The day is still rather gray, rather dark and cloudy. A number of light rains have really begun to kind of soggy up the road as you begin heading down south, far from the city of Mulemaster. There's that kind of flat lands that goes out for about a mile or so all the way around Mulemaster, that from countless invasions and fights, from the number of carts and travel animals, of people and other events, that this area is almost devoid of any like real forest or natural. It's completely flat. And, well, not pretty to look at, makes the outside of Mulmaster a hard one just to straight out onslaught, much to the city's defense. As you continue to head down south, passing a number of carts heading north, heading towards Mulmaster, typically mostly humans, occasionally a dwarf or maybe even an elf, families, singular merchants, ranging from all kind of walks of life. Some riding only, a singular like mule with the small carts, to almost like a whole wagon being pulled by a team of them as they head towards the City of Danger. The country around the North Road, and this part, as you get out of that kind of flat area, turns more hillish. There's lots of scrub brush and kind of foothills, but is overall rather pleasant. The air in this part of the year is filled with the smell of flowers, and as you move farther and farther down south, the smell of kind of the water of the Moon Sea begins to kind of fade away. Go ahead and everybody roll me a perception check as you're making this travel.
Oh my god. My passive is 9.
Passive is 9.
My passive
21.
11.
That's 12.
12.
I got 21.
Most of you focus on keeping up with the wagon. You can see that Enghara and her nephews are in control of one wagon, while the two Emberac sisters are in charge of the second one. Keeping up, enjoying it. It's so far been pleasant. Jove, looking around, focusing with your experience on caravans not to be distracted. Looking around, besides a couple of rough individuals and some tense up and downs from passing by wagons, the coast looks pretty clear. With the overcast and a slight bit of rain, yeah, the going's a little trudgy, but not bad so far. You continue for the better part of a day, seeing the kind of more and more forested area towards the west as you make it from the kind of hilly footlands outside of Mulmaster, heading ever closer south. Jove, you actually feeling most confident, having traveled down this path now, twice? 3 times now, from different forays, although never with so much wagons and individuals. You point out a couple of different places, and just naturally as a ranger, and I believe just from some of your passive, you make travel through difficult terrain just normal pace, and you can move faster if I believe, what is that, Natural Explorer?
I do believe so. I'm using the new Ranger from Tasha's, so I forget. I know they switched some of the stuff out, so I don't remember if that's one of the switched out things.
Okay, I believe. Let's take a real quick look. I think it's what. Okay, it's switched out. You're doing the Deft Explorer rather than, I think, the Natural Explorer.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know. Regardless, you get the better part of the entirety of the day's travel without too much issue. You can see that Jove, you can tell that you're probably only a couple hours away from where, if you begin to head more west, the flooded forest begins. You can start kind of feeling the thickness in the air, just ever so slightly, indicating to you ever closer that you're getting closer and closer to the flooded forest aspect. But evening is quickly approaching, and after a day of walking and staying within respectful distance. Anghara kind of yells out, I think that's about it for today. I know the next part gets a little more wet, a little more difficult, so I think now is the best place to take a stop, make camp. Let's say the rest of you. And you can hear the Dara from this. That sounds about right. I could take a break. Her nephews also pop in. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds real good.
Yeah.
Not my cargo, not my call. I'm up to whatever you're doing.
I see no reason. Might as well stop.
As you
And Jove just
go.
gets out and starts looking for clear spots to set up camp.
Yeah, I'll say with your 21 year experience, there's a place a little ways off the road that Ankara pulls the wagons out into the side, and begins the process of making camp. However, as you all dismount. All right, remember rule number 2. Set up your camp little ways off from ours. Don't want to draw too much of a big crowd out here. Big crowds mean big wins.
Makes sense.
Joe, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
I love that shield. That's going to give me to 18.
An 18? Yeah, you find a place probably about 300 feet or so, kind of off onto the other side of the road, away from Ankhara's, that would be too small for her wagons and such and her people, but would be just the right amount of space for you and your party to start beginning setting up camp.
Yeah, Jove really wants to make sure that he has that sight line on them. So if shit goes down in the middle of the night, then he can see them.
Yeah, absolutely. With that roll, you find a place that we're from here. Yeah, it's a bit of a jaunt over there, but if anything were to really go down, yeah, you definitely feel like you'd be able to spot it, have at least a line of sight on it.
And as they're walking away, he wants to say to Ankara and say, "Hey, if anything goes bad on our side, I'm gonna let out a big old whistle, okay? So be listening to that, and be thinking of some way that you all can let us know on the other side here if you need some help during the night. I think we'll be fine, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared."
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Actually, and looks over to you, Freddy. Once you guys are all done getting set up, why don't you come on over and play some of that music, at least before we start taking shifts on watch. It's pretty
Literally
good
about
play.
to ask you if you wanted that, so it's certainly on the books.
I think that'd make this travel a whole lot more pleasant. And with kind of a smile and a jingle, she nods to you and begins getting her camp set up. And takes a better part of an hour or so for them to set up camp. The two dwarven sisters really take care of the horses and getting them unhitched from the wagons, while her nephews begin setting up some of the finer points of Anghara's items, getting some small tents set up for their aunt in the likeness. The move at kind of like a frantic pace, cartwheeling and jumping off the wagons, grabbing different items and setting up a small cook fire as well, off kind of out towards away from the road. Um, as you guys are all getting set up with your own kind of sleeping gear, setting out your packs, putting things down. Um, Evening approaches, the sunfall beginning. You probably got maybe like a half hour or so left of light before you're all set up with your two camps about 300 feet away on opposite sides of the road. Kind of like almost like catty cornered to each other.
Or the light is totally out. Can Jove see if he can like go out and catch a rabbit or something for some fresh meat?
Roll some survival.
I will. That's a 3.
A 3. Yeah, it's an unlucky deal for you today. Unfortunately, you come back empty-handed. But evening approaches. Your guys' camp is set up for the evening. Everybody, if you would like to eat a ration, do
Yeah.
so. What? I'll ask for flavor. What do you guys pack as your rations for out on the road?
I imagine.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I imagine Jove just has like some dried jerky, dried fruits. If he can come by it, he definitely wants to have some like nuts, and then like I imagined like the leavenous bread or whatever straight out of Lord of the Rings would be what he would be snacking on.
Classic Lord of the Rings fare, absolutely. Jasper?
Basically charcuterie. Slices of bread and like spiced meat and cheese.
Yeah, some like hard traveling cheese. Looks like a
Yeah.
small charcuterie board. Uses
Basically.
one of the
You
hand
traveling
axes
cheese.
to like get like the smear on there.
Exactly.
Weirdly bougie.
Oh, well, yeah, she would use the Imix dagger for that.
Absolutely. Use the Imix dagger as a cheese knife.
Get some fucking use out of this thing.
Said audibly. Ronak.
I feel like Rornax would actually be like strangely very small, especially with a lot of his breathing techniques that he usually does to keep himself up. So it would almost you would see him honestly like pull out just like part of like pretty much like a loaf of bread essentially. And then like as like his snacks, I imagine that he would do what he can to pick up just like any sorts of berries that he can from around town to just make him a little bit nostalgic for some of like the blueberry wine and all and stuff from back at the monastery.
Yeah, you all see this same loaf of bread that Rornak has been like munching on. You're pretty sure the entirety you've known Rornak. Just little by little is tearing apart this loaf of bread. And you're just like, that you have no like that thing's gotta be just hard at this point, but whenever it's time, just takes a chunk of it, eats it. Always got small berries. And then what about you, Freddy?
I have just like hunks of the like best value bread, so like the cheapest bread, and just like basic cheap fruits, like just apples and nothing too extravagant.
Like a college kid shopping for the first time, just the cheapest stuff.
Yeah,
That's gonna
he
last
learned
forever.
his,
The ramen
learned
of
his-
rations.
he learned his grocery shopping from his time when it was just him and his dad, and his dad kind of just bought the cheapest stuff so that they could just get by with what they had.
Yeah, got that poor May. Just like cheapest bread, like the cheapest stuff all like thrown together. You like take some of the fruits and roll it in the cheap bread, create your own like bread berry hot dog.
That's
Sandwich.
Yeah. You gotta fold it. You don't want to use too much bread, so you fold it in half because then you can get all the sensation of the sandwich, but only use half the bread. It's the perfect thing. It's so smart. You can make bread last way longer that way. As you all enjoy your rations, you can see the from your side of camp. Do you guys set up a campfire, or just kind of have your bedrolls and everything? And you can definitely see over on Anhara's camp um, a fire has been set up. The wagons are pulled off the street, so it's not off the road, I should say. It's not immediately, but since exactly know where it's set up, you can see kind of the fire illuminating their possessions.
Jove would want to light a fire over in our camp for sure.
Yeah, you light a small fire, one on each side of the road. You guys enjoy the ration and night sits. Being outside of Mulemaster, since the city never particularly sleeps, and the streets in some areas, especially the nicer parts, are indeed lit, it does form a fair bit of light pollution. Now being out here an entire day's ride, or day's walk south of the city, you could really see bits and pieces of the skies. There's still kind of that heavy cloud cover, but every now and then you'll see a spot open up, and there's just kind of like this immense, just symphony of stars out into the sky. That is, it's almost like a small pinhole that you can watch kind of travel up through, illuminating the sky before it's blanketed by clouds again. The moon perfectly in half, like shining down like a half smile all the way down, and the few bits and places you can see. The evening has arrived. What would you all like to do?
I'm ready to head over whenever.
Yeah, Freddie, you go over there and you do your song and dance thing. I'll take first watch on our side and keep my eyes on the tree line. If somebody wants to come and relieve me in a couple hours, I'd appreciate that.
Be willing to take watch after you.
Do we need 3 watches or just 2?
3 watches. First, second, and third.
Might be best for Freddy to take the 3rd one, because, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I can't see fucking much in this mask.
Yeah, sounds fair to me.
Jove, you go to begin setting up watch. Jasper and Rory, preparing for rest and for the night to come. Freddy, you head over to Anghara's camp and see it set up. You can see Anghara and her 2 nephews engaged in a
My
conversation.
keys dropped out right now.
Oh no.
They're
My
back.
map is up.
Freddy's back now.
That volume just completely went out. I'm gonna try plug it in one more time and see if
Okidoki.
Hello.
It's me.
Okay.
I
I
remember.
don't know what the fuck that was. It was just like in the middle of Jasper talking. Everything just stopped.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm taking 3rd watch.
If you don't mind.
Okay.
So you head on over to Anghara's camp. You can see Anghara and her 2 nephews all enjoying their meal. Two numbers kind of move about around her as they talk back and forth. And you can see that the Ember Axe sisters are currently engaged in what appears to be a dice game of sorts. A fair stack of gold on kind of like a small stump that they found as a makeshift table. As they rolled dice and gold moves back and forth between them. Anghara sees you approach, says, "Ah, hey there. Good to see you, Fred.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice night out.
Better than being inside Mulemaster, right?"
Well, I mean, born and raised, can't really complain.
That just means you haven't seen what the rest of the world has to offer.
Certainly haven't seen much.
Well,
And I'm gonna sit next to Ankara and just kind of like whisper to her. I'm just gonna say, "Hey, is there like a toy or something that's from the 10 town that maybe your cousins there, or nephews, whatever they are, that maybe they're missing and they want to play with?"
you know my nephews are well into like their first like 50 years, right? They're not kids anymore.
I never know with gnomes. I'm trying. Um,
You humans are weird sometimes. You guys grow up too fast.
uh, well then, I'm going to start my song and do a song of creation and just make like what do I want to make?
And as you're thinking, Hara says, "No, my nephews are absolute gluttons. They spend most of their times drinking and smoking most of my wares."
Yeah, I guess I won't do song creation because I can't think of anything good. But I will play my song, and I'll kind of do similar to what I did earlier, but throw some of my own personal flair in there too.
Absolutely. Roll me that performance check.
Performance. That's a piece of garbage. That's 13.
You played this time, and you finally, after playing so well this first one and you're journeying the sewers, and you've been playing with the broken fingers a lot lately, and this is finally when they start to really ache. This kind of end of the day, having played and trying to go, and this is really one of the first performances you feel the broken fingers kind of impede you. You still do pretty well, but as you kind of finish, Inkara says, the first time you played, I almost couldn't even tell that your fingers were broken. Still pretty good with two broken fingers, though. She kind of looks and now really notices the broken fingers on you. What does the bard have to do to break their fingers like that?
That's one of those classified pieces of information.
Ah, yeah. Old Cloak's Edict of Arcane Banishment of Molemaster. Well, luckily, no magic here. Just deft fingers and a cunning business savvy.
So you said that they smoke and eat most of your wares. You a food vendor, a general store clerk?
Ah, it's my turn to wag the finger at you. No asking about my wares.
Hey, I didn't say anything about the cargo. You talked to me about your wares, and I'm just asking about it.
Yeah, well. When I do have such wares as that, these two, she looks over at them as they, help themselves to more of the food that's been kind of prepared. Spend most of the day trying to trick me out of it. Still love them, though. I came halfway across the world to come be with them, so.
They didn't come with you.
No, my time up in Icewind Dale, that's a hard place with an even harder climate. I used to be a much more rough individual, but received word that sister died, had these two kids with them. Somebody had to come look out for them, and I don't know, for my taste, felt like the Dale was only getting colder. Quite frankly, too many tourists. Everybody wants to go to Icewind Dale. Nobody wants to do the cold of Icewind Dale, you know?
Yeah, can't really say that about Mole Master. Nobody wants to visit Mole Master, and nobody can put up with Mole Master, so it's kind of interesting when we do see tourists. Usually up to something.
Up to something, always involving money. Always involving somebody getting stabbed in the back. That's Mole Master. The gateway to the Moon Sea.
Yeah. But you get used to it, and you learn to make your way.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of ways to make your way.
So you came all the way out here for those two?
Yeah, Well, after spending quite a bit of time as a rogue up in Icewind Dale, I was tired of the snow and the cold, and family responsibility called. And I did pretty well for myself up there, so decided it was time to see more of the world than just where I was born and raised.
Sounds like you're doing something. Yeah, exploring the world, doing what you want to do, living by your own rules.
It's not a bad life. You can get stifled in the place that you're born at. Sometimes it just seeps into you, and you don't know it until you get out, see more. It's nice that, and she kind of looks around, I could just sleep outside and not have to worry about the elements just coming out and killing you. Much less the people everywhere.
Yeah. And once you get away from Mole Master, you can probably sleep a little more soundly too.
I'm surprised that a cloak like you wants to go out all this far away. I mean, a cloak on unofficial, not official, not cloak business with a group of, well, I don't know exactly what to call you, mercenaries, I suppose. Traveling, but not under the employ.
Well, it seems like you already know a little bit about the cloak's role in Mole Master, and you probably know that it's not always 100% your choice to be a cloak.
Ah, they got you when you were young, huh, kid?
That they did. Well, they tried their best.
So what is it that you, whether in cloak business or not, and your party are really up to here?
With you or in Mole Master?
Which one of those is declassified? Because that's the one.
I mean, I can give you answers on both.
And give me answers on both.
With you, we're just trying to make Mole Master seem like just a little bit less shitty of a place to be for outsiders. Make a good name for ourselves for outsiders and insiders alike. But in Mole Master, just trying to get by, getting what we can while we can.
Go ahead. And just roll me a d20 plus your charisma.
Oh, I thought that was a 1 for a second. It's a 7 for a 10.
For a 10? Okay. Kind of nods. Well, I wish you luck on that second one. You guys aren't half bad traveling companions for now. But the night's drawn long. Should probably put out the fire and call it there and start getting on our own watches. Rod,
Alright.
she calls out. Yeah? You're on first watch. And hey, stay out of our drinks again. That Icewind Dale, I only have 2 bottles of it, and if I catch you trying to replace it with that piss wine you're trying to swill, I will cut your toes off. But only one of them. Try balancing then. And you see him kind of look shocked for a second, and then smiles real big. Yeah, okay, Auntie. And you see him kind of tumble himself up towards a tree and climbs it with a fair bit of acrobatics and gets to a branch and starts looking out. You have yourself a good night, Freddy. And
You do.
whatever
do
the
the
rest you
same.
call your companions.
Well, it's pretty funny. We call ourselves the Odd Jobs for obvious reasons.
That's kind of on the nose, don't you think?
Well, I guess that's just evidence that I'm not lying. That we're really just doing what we do for kind of the fun of it at times.
For the fun of it. That's a nice way to live. Good night. She
Night.
nods to you with the final kind of jingle of her jewelry. You head back to your party. Jove, you're on first watch.
Yes, I am.
Roll me perception.
Shall. Ooh wee. Yeah, that's a 21.
21.
Nice.
You look out and you stay and you watch as Enghara's campfire goes dark. Freddy returns. You know, you see the rest of your party members getting ready for sleep and looking out towards the road, towards kind of the surrounding forests, even out towards where the flooded forest lies. The coast is clear. As your shift comes to an end, who's taking second watch?
I believe that's me, unless you want to go before me, Freddy. I'll go ahead and take second.
Okie dokie. Jove, you're relieved by Rory. Rory, roll me that check.
Ooh, that's only a 5, Captain.
A 5. It goes dark. And with your campfire, you know, now only a couple of, now a bunch of smoldering embers and Enghara's own campfire out, it is dark, Rornak. It is very dark out here. It reminds you a lot more of the outside the monastery at night, except with far more forest around you. But your watch, even though dark, continues on. Who's got the third watch? Jasper?
No, it's
Or
me.
Freddy? Freddy,
It's me.
is you. You go to relieve Rornak. Go ahead and roll me that perception check.
Yeah. 9.
9.
Oh wait, my passive is 11.
Your passive is 11. As you take your third watch, you take up your post, think about kind of what Enghara said and your conversations, think about the music. You look on over. And at first, you think it's just kind of the shadows of the late night. You know that sunrise is bearing ever closer. And you think you hear something. But looking out You don't see anything appearing at Inghara's. You don't hear anything. The coast appears to be clear. And the sun rises. The rest of your party awakes.
First thing Jasper does when she wakes up is check her gold.
You go ahead and check your gold. How much gold did you have when you left outside of Mulemaster?
529.
529. You go and you pull out your gold. You count it.
528 is left.
530.
What?
Dang.
Noted.
No, your gold is all there.
Cool.
Anything exciting happen on y'all's watches last night? It's a whole lot of nothing for me.
Nothing on my end. I will admit, though, it was quite dark. A lot of trouble making out anything, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. Didn't see much of anything to be sure of.
Well, hey, I guess that's a good thing. If there was something out there, guess we would have woken up to one of y'all shaking us awake. So, yeah, good night, I guess.
Yeah,
By the
definitely
way,
good night for me. Thanks
by
for-
the way, the gnome kids aren't kids, so don't embarrass yourself if it comes up. They're very much not kids.
Well, thanks for taking that arrow for us, Freddy.
Yeah.
Well, we should not burn any more daylight, I suppose. Go over there and start packing up camp and seeing when they're wanting to roll out.
Yeah, sounds good.
You all begin packing up your camp. You eat another ration, have your breakfast. Anybody have anything a little different for their breakfast, or just more of the same kind of rations from the night before?
Same for me.
More charcuterie, more
Just,
college kid food, more another bite from the loaf of bread.
Another day staler, man. Let's go.
You're gonna be able to use that loaf of bread as a club here in a little bit. So.
Improvised weapons are just monk weapons, so you know.
You're-
I can do it.
Swing my baguette, which is a 1d6.
Everybody's gangster till you pull out the bread chucks.
I sling with a clump of bread.
You guys pack up, get all of your stuff ready, eat some rations. It's in a relatively quiet morning. Hold on, I had music for this. I had music. Yes? No? Yes? No? I think the answer is yes, but either way. You guys are able to pack up your camp. However, Jove, what's your passive?
My passive is 12. I don't know if having the shield, which gives me advantage, like bumps that at
It
all.
does not.
But,
It doesn't bad.
Yeah, it does.
It does?
Advantage on perception increases your passive by 5. I believe that's an actual rule.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Jove, it's not that you notice something, it's the absence of what you notice, which is any sort of movement coming from Inghara's camp.
Hey, has anybody said anything to our folks over there yet? I'm not hearing them Scurry, did y'all end up drinking or something last night, Freddy?
Not while I was there. There was just normal goings on, normal camp activities.
I'm gonna go check it out.
I will follow.
You guys begin heading over to Anghar's camp. You see that the two horses are still kind of tied up for the evening where they are left. And as soon as you get there, you can immediately tell something is amiss. None of their belongings are packed up. There's still cookingware left out and about from the evening before. And that's where you notice the blood splatters. Looking out through the camp, you can see the still bodies of Anghara, her nephews, and the Emberax sisters. Their bodies all appearing to have taken multiple stab wounds. And you can see, especially Joe with your passive perception, a large number of the crates still on the wagons. But the strong iron scent of blood is strong on the nose.
Freddy, hang back for a second before we start traipsing over through here. I want to see if I can find some footsteps. And Jove is going to kind of scan the outer ring of the camp. And so, are like real quick, just a note: are the deceased like laid down like in rows next to each other, or just kind of out and about with no sense of organization, just kind of died where they were?
You can see that there's kind of two areas, one with Anhara and her nephews, and one where the Emberax sisters were set up. Looking through, you see that the Emberax sisters, that their axes are still there, their armor still appears to be there, both large wounds open in the neck. Looking over towards Ankara, you can see that her body has clearly been moved. The tons of jewelry that she has been wearing throughout this adventure has been picked clean. You see that one of the nephews is there. With your passive perception, you can see off towards the distance a little ways from the camp, by a tree, in a kind of strange angle, as if they fell head first, and with a few arrows sticking out of it, one of Anghara's nephews. Probably a good 30 so feet away from the camp. Anghara clearly has been, all of her jewelry has clearly been taken from her body.
Jove's gonna swear in halfling under his breath and say, Freddy, would you mind grabbing the others? They need to see this.
Yeah.
Freddy, you go over and you retrieve Rornak and Jasper.
You
And
gotta
during-
be fucking kidding me.
Oh no.
Whoever did this was organized. I've seen a lot of bandits in my day. They usually do the whole shock and awe thing. Come in yelling and screaming in the middle of the night. Disorient you. This is calculating.
I I didn't even hear anything that night, did you?
No.
I didn't, and they seem like the type to, you know, make noise if something abnormal was happening.
Do I see those arrows sticking out of one of the nephews?
With after having Joe brought you around, yes.
Uh, what? How's the fletching? Do they look like people made these or something else?
Roll your choice. Insights or weapons knowledge. I'll make weapons knowledge. Let's make that history.
Okay.
While she's
give
rolling-
history a shot.
While she's rolling that, I'm gonna start casting detect magic.
That is a 18 for history.
18 for history. Looking at it, definitely appears to be human made. They are not uniquely fletched. In fact, they are purposely bland arrows. They are basic in almost every way, shape, and form. Except you look, there appears to be 3. And 2 of them are like this, but a third one has some different fletching. The wood is different. Still, nothing particularly special. It looks like they were all fired, but as if these arrows have been scrounged. And you can see some of the wear and tear on them, that these appear to be not all the same arrows by the same maker, as if they've been collected over time. And then Freddy, what were you rolling? Sorry.
I was doing detect magic.
Oh, detect magic. Roll me an Arcana check.
Oh boy. 17.
17. It's not that any of the items here ping. However, and let me look up specifically which school it's from.
Also, for everyone's reference, I put what I was talking about with the passive checks in the chat if you haven't seen that yet.
Thank you.
Illusion magic over the bodies. And what feels like... With the 18, you walk, and with your study of magic's actual formal training, you're figuring that it was likely a sphere of some sorts was placed over here. Of what magic exactly, you're not sure, but looking around, you can see kind of the gun smoke of a magic spell over this area. Not
It's
exactly.
about the sphere shape.
It's about a sphere shape. It's definitely something illusion was cast over them in this area, and you see it easily covers both Anghora's area and the Ember Axe's area.
There's no I don't see any active magic on them.
No
It's just
active
a
magic.
residue.
Definitely something was cast here on them. Something in the illusion discipline, but it was, this is like the equivalent of seeing like footprints, but magical. There's definitely a footprint of illusion magic here, but nothing's actively pinging now.
Yeah, these weren't your average highwaymen. I'm doing my magic eye thing, and I'm seeing some magic, which, I mean, as we know, is not terribly normal for these parts. I'm thinking that if some kind of silence was put on the area, then that could explain why none of our watch heard any shouts for help.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense because it looks like one of the nephews scurried away, and I mean it's hard to do that silently, so that's probably it. Maybe I can go out and catch.
Roll him.
Sorry.
Yeah, Jove, roll a real quick survival check on that body.
Oh, that's a 19.
A 19. Looking at it, at first you thought perhaps that they had crawled away, but looking at it, it appears they fell out of a tree. Looking kind of closer at it, you can see some where the blood starts. That likely they were shot while up in this tree, fell down, and that's why their body is farther away.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like they maybe it got the nephew first. Maybe he was up there. He was their watch for the night.
Yeah, that's where it seemed like the nephews were heading when it was their turn for watch. So I know one of them had first watch.
And
So,
looking at it, Freddy, you can tell that the one that was killed was not Rod, but the other twin. Gosh, Rod. It was Fen.
So it was not first watch. I mean, just as an assumption, they would probably have the other nephew go second, just because, I don't know, it just kind of is natural to do a like after a like. Just to kind of give us a time frame on when all this might have happened. Has anybody checked their wares yet? The cargo? I feel like we're well within our rights to break the rules at this point.
Yeah, we should give it a look and see if what's taken is just food and all of that, then this falls right in line with what that Captain Hulk was telling us about. And I've got a sinking suspicion that this is the bandit group we're looking for.
Who would like to roll investigation on the crates?
Well,
I have a decent ability at figuring things out, which is my in-game way of saying I have a +2.
Freddy, if you don't mind touching the crates, Rornak, what should we do with these bodies?
I'll give Freddy a hand.
I mean, they deserve to be sent off with some respect. I bury them, I would say. Possibly cremate, but either way, they shouldn't just be left out here like this.
No, there we don't want the critters picking at them. That's just not right.
Is there anything left on them that can help identify them? I know I know the job is off now, but something should be taken back from them to remember them by, in my opinion.
I think there's something to that. Maybe we can, I don't know, find something. But I don't know, Rornak. I'm not a man of faith, really. I mean, acknowledge there are gods, but I don't follow one quite like it seems you do. So I'm kind of fish out of water here. We don't know their beliefs, so maybe it's best that we go by yours. How would you send him off?
I guess DM asking a bit out of character. What is there like a specific ritual that someone from the monastery or practicing Ilmater would like do in like a burial or like a ceremony for people that are deceased? Because I don't actually know that personally.
Ilmater does not have a specific burial rites for his people, simply because he's the god of martyrdom, suffering, perseverance, mercy, that many of his followers die in awful ways. So Ilmater himself does not have like a proper burial rites, because anybody from any race can be buried in the name of Ilmater. And so many of his chosen and his followers die in, well, terrible ways. So typically it's left up to the environment. Like for the monastery, you guys let the bodies be taken back into nature, simply because one, there's not enough room to store bodies there. Secondly, the harsh nature of the expanse reclaims what is given out, much as you reclaim your area of the monastery back from nature. So in this respect, whatever's the would be proper for gnomes and dwarves of this culture, but you do not have any proper burial rites. Although burying them is standard practice for many cultures in Faerun.
Yeah, then Rornak would say, well, specifically with my group, we typically let nature itself kind of reclaim them. As far as the deceased here's proper burial, I can't say I'm necessarily familiar with gnomes and dwarves, how they would go about it. Could do a simple burial, and I could speak a few words on behalf of a follower of Ilmater. I don't know how much you can do, but I think something small like that would be worthwhile.
DM, do the halflings do cremation or burial?
Halflings get buried.
Well, these are fellow small folk, so I'm thinking it might be right to bury them if you don't mind breaking a sweat with me here.
And gnomes
Uh,
are definitely are typically do have subterranean cities as well. So being returned back to the earth is not crazy out of what gnomish people would be doing in the Forgotten Realm setting.
Rornak will nod and say, I'll give you a hand, Jove.
Rory and Jove, you begin preparing some spaces for Enghara and her nephews and the Ember Ancestors. Freddy, you were going to be rolling investigation with advantage from help with Jasper.
Hey. Well, that was bad. Oh, my better of the two is an 11.
An 11, you open up the crates and see inside of them are a number of what you would describe as like trinkets from Icewind Dale. There are a number of exotic all-white furs in one crate. And another one appears to be a whole box of strange cured meats. They're strange because they smell both like fish and like almost like an elk, like a very kind of lean meat together. But they are also incredibly like pale compared to most of like salted meats that you would expect. You find another one that has a number of books and the likes from Icewind Dale, all of them appearing to have significant like cold weather damage to them, and then having reheated back into a more temperate climate afterwards, after being in such a cold area for so long, and more similar boxes of that. Some of them look like they haven't been opened in quite some time. You find even one that has like a number of like what seems to be oils and such, almost like a blubbery oil to it, similar to kind of like a kerosene almost, but they all appear to be just different cargoes from the Icewind Dale. However, you do notice that there doesn't seem to be any sort of real big valuable pieces. Any like there's no boxes of like gold or anything. All just seems like a lifetime of living in the Icewind Dale being packed up and traveled.
Okay. Well, it wasn't the cargo that brought them. It was just the fact that there was people camping on the side of the road.
I'm
besides
sure
the
they took their gold.
besides the thing of meats, which once again, it's an off-putting color, to be honest. You don't find any gold or remaining foodstuffs, any like water skins. Um, there is one box that looks like it has been opened and closed many a times. It has a strong mead smell to the inside of it. That's all been taken. But besides that, anything's, I mean, there's some of these pelts and stuff could be quite valuable. Um, like, you know, Freddy, with your kind of market mind and set, some of it you could sell quite a bit of this and make some cash off of it, but so much of it just seems like it's been just looked into and then left behind.
Um, I don't know how much of an insight is needed for this, but I want to know if I can assume that that kind of leads me to believe that they're like savages that kind of just like live out in the wild and uh like that's why they didn't take the expensive things because they don't plan on going anywhere to sell it.
Go ahead and roll me insight.
Jesus Christ. 6.
6? That sounds
Yeah.
exactly right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they're leaving everything except for like actual money and the food. So my instinct is to say that for the most part they just kind of live on their own out here, and then maybe just take the money to go in and to the town and just buy their own food if they can't stop enough cargo folk.
Seems like there are better ways to make money than attacking people on the road, but especially ones who know how to cast magic, that seems a bit bizarre. Well, I guess we won't find out anything here. Let's go check on Jove and Rory.
Jovenori, you've got a number of these kind of graves set up off across by the road. With the two of you working on it, with Rory's dexterity and Jove's strength, and just kind of the softness of this ground, it's easy to move a lot. It's not hard or impacted. I mean, it's not terribly long before you have made the equivalent of 5 graves for Enghara and her traveling companions.
Well,
Well, they didn't deserve this. You know, it's not our fault that this happened, but I don't know. Seemed that Captain Hulk didn't care what was going to come of these folks. I think he even explicitly called them bait, which is kind of a shitty thing to think about another person, but maybe we say a few words or something, and I can go see if I can catch a trail back into the forest, and maybe we can find these fuckers.
I'll have words for whoever did this, but I have nothing to say.
I will say then that I hope that in the eyes of Ilmater, Saint Solaris, and all that have walked the path of life before us, that they go now viewed as martyrs to Ilmater. May their suffering be taken from them, as they walk onto the next path and into their next lives. Be at peace.
And then as a close, I'll play the 10 Town-esque music.
As Freddy starts to play, Jove will get the shovel and start putting the dirt on top of the bodies.
And you, Freddy playing in the background, put Enhara, Rod, Ben, Mag, and Dayra to rest on this kind of outskirts of the flooded forest, away from Mole Master and the hustle and bustle, away from its cobblestone streets and its powerful malevolence. It's probably about midday when you guys are all finished. Jove, go ahead and roll me a... This is a perception to look for traps, and then it would be a survival to follow them. So roll me perception.
Okay. Ooh, that is I guess a passive 17, right?
Pass the 17. Yeah, looking around, you kind of go over to where the body of Fen is, towards the tree that was acting as a spot for lookouts. You kind of think back on where those arrows were fired from, looking at the body, and looking over, you see a set of tracks, areas where the forest has been kind of tampered down. And the way it's set up is Enghara's camp was a little further down south towards the flooded forest than your guys's was, and yours being on the opposite side of the road. And you can see, following that, what appears to be tracks heading deeper towards the flooded forest.
Alrighty, folks. I think I found something. But maybe we should let that. Was the horse killed in the flurry, or is the horse still doing its thing?
It appears that the horses were left.
Maybe we should let the horses free. That way they're not just sitting here and I don't know, suffering.
Think maybe we could use them.
Well, maybe actually. Let me try something. Jove is gonna use his primal awareness to cast Speak with Animals.
Whoa.
Woo. Yeah, Jove, you go up to one of the horses and you kind of take in the surrounding nature, your time in it, your many travels in caravans, and especially typically with horses. And you go up to one of the horses who is still just kind of hanging out by the tree, still tied to it. Just a simple kind of rope just to keep it from running too off, but the bit and chopping bit taken out of the mouth. And what do you say to this horse?
He'll present a piece of dried fruit and kind of, offer it to him and say, "Hey, buddy, we speaking the same language right now?"
And the horse kind of leans over and eats the bit of dried fruit. Hey. Yeah. Weird.
It's kind of weird for me too, but I'm Jove. Can I? Do you have a name that I can call you?
Hold on. I didn't have a horse's name prepared. Yeah. I'm called Cross.
Well, there, friend. I don't know if you saw what happened last night, but something happened, and the folks you've been working with, unfortunately, didn't survive the night, and we've laid them to rest. Did you see anything last night?
Oh. And it's kind of a sad kind of whinny. Yeah, I saw some movements. Group of two legs. All wearing brown cloaks. But they didn't make a lot of noise. One waved its hands a lot. I thought they were just hugging.
You seem to have a good soul, Cross, and I appreciate the information. We're going to be going out after those bastards that, well, let's just say they weren't hugging your friend, so I don't want to leave you all tied up here. How does freedom sound?
It sounds nice.
Joe will kind of reach up as best as he can to kind of give him a scritch behind the ears, and as he does that, he'll cut the rope and say, "You've earned it, friend. Happy trails to you."
Wait, what about Carl? And he goes over to the other horse that is tied up.
Well, Carl, well, what you feeling? You want to go out on all fours with your friend here?
Carl looks down to you. Sure.
Oh, well, you seem like the fun one, Carl. Would want to break up this dynamic duo, and I'll cut the rope there and say, you guys are near what we call, in two-legged language, the flooded forest. It's a little marshy for your cloven hooves, but if you had pulling up a map real here, if you just keep on heading a little bit further north, there's a nice little patch of a forest with plenty of grass to graze on and all that sort of thing.
Nice. Come on, Carl. And kind of uses its horse teeth and grabs onto a bit of Carl, like kind of by the ear, and pulls him off. And Carl just, okay, and kind of begins to fall off as the two horses one last kind of whinny and then begin trotting north up the road to wherever it is that Carl and Cross will be going.
Joe will return to the party and say, "Well, those are a couple of real nice horses. Cross is the name of one of them, and he was saying that there's a bunch of two-legged folks in brown cloaks, and indeed said that one was waving his hands around, which by now I've come to see is that the whole cast of magic thing. So I think your hypothesis is a pretty sure bet there, Freddy. Now I've also got the trail, so we can get going. Appreciate you guys taking the time. I just didn't want those. I don't know. Didn't want those horses turning out to be a snack for somebody else, or even worse.
I'm thinking that with as coordinated as these individuals are, there's more than a small chance that the trail they left might be either false or ambushed kind of at the end of it. So perhaps we should fan out a bit, stay a little bit far apart so we're harder to jump on.
I think you're onto something there,
Jasper. This isn't. Yeah, these aren't amateurs. They've done this a couple of times, so since I have the trail and the eyes for it, I'll pick up the one that may or may not be the false one, and whoever wants to stick with me can do that as well. And Jasper having you far afield might be a good idea.
How about Freddy? You stick with Jove, and then Rory and I will stay about 40 feet on each side.
I'm always down to be in the bigger group.
Yeah, these little legs don't run as fast as you all, so.
Okay. So, how is this formation set up?
Kind of a straight line with Jasper on the far left, Jove and Freddy in the middle, and then Rory on the far right.
And how far away are each of you from Freddy and Jove? 40 feet?
Let's call it 35.
35. Okay. You make kind of this wide arc. Jove, roll me survival.
Ooh, that's only a 4.
Only a 4. You begin heading deeper into the flooded forest. The terrain begins to change from kind of this nice kind of wooded area. The air begins to get more humid, thicker. The ground gets softer, more marshy. It becomes wetter. And this area, the elevation gets like lower and lower and lower as more of this is starting to kind of fade into the riverless as it kind of dumps so much of its water into this area. While there's still tons of growth, it's becoming more and more difficult to track. As you guys are now heading into the flooded forest proper, Jove, you are following the trail, but it's getting more and more difficult to follow. Especially with kind of Jasper's words weighing on you heavily. Give me another survival check.
That's better. That's an 11.
It's an 11. With the 11, you lose track of kind of the footfalls, the broken pieces of forest that show kind of a number of humanoids moving through. Instead, what you find appears to be this strange, pungent yellow substance that has been smeared onto a tree. That's almost like a citronella-esque smell to it. Clearly manufactured in some way, not a naturally occurring. And you see that there are a number of these, almost like small markers inside this flooded area, as it becomes soon almost impossible to follow anything as the bog of the flooded forest now comes up to about ankle high, maybe even a little higher on you since you're so short.
You see that, Freddy? That kind of yellow patch stuff there?
I mean, with you pointing it out, I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be some wayfinders that they're laying out on the way in. It doesn't. I don't know. Does this look like some magic-y shit that you hear about? I know you guys like pen and inks and doing all of that. This isn't ringing a bell for that, is it?
DM does it.
Do you have your detect magic up?
Well, yeah.
Okay, after casting
He's
it.
more asking if it's like if it is triggering any of my like knowledge of magic.
Of magic, it's not. It doesn't seem to be made into anything. It just looks more smeared than anything. So
So yeah, now I'll
No.
look at it with the detect magic.
You know, you kind of examine it, smell it. You look at it with detect magic, and it doesn't ping anything. It seems almost like a salve more than anything else.
Mm.
More herbally than anything else.
It's weird that they would have advanced magic such as whatever that silence was, but not use magic for whatever this is.
Maybe it's for the folks that can't use magic, and it's a little easier for them to get eyes on yellow stuff on the bark. But cool. I just know that there's glyphs and all that kind of thing. Want to make sure we weren't like tripping an alarm or something. And DM, you said that there was kind of more on the path forward.
Yeah, every couple of hundred or feet or so, you find another one of these. Sometimes it's less of finding it with your eyes, more of continuing to track it via smell. In some places, especially with the smell of the bog, it gets very difficult, but it does have a very unique smell to it.
Jove will keep following his nose.
Okay. Using your nose, roll me perception.
Ooh, that's 21.
21. Yeah. This time, with that in mind, you begin following it farther and farther and farther, deeper into the flooded forest. Can I have everyone make me a Constitution saving throw?
Ooh, not 20.
God damn it! That's a 10.
That's a 9.
It's a 9.
Everyone but Jove, which is almost perfect for this. Now that you have been doing a number of hours following Jove through this boggy, marshy, humid, insect-filled, bird-calling muck of a place that pretends to be called a forest, everyone except Jove suffers 1 level of exhaustion.
Great.
Darn.
Jove, this is not your first time. It's hot, it's humid, there's lots of treacherous places, insects and other animals. However, this is also the same flooded forest where you were initiated into the Emerald Enclave. It's still a wild place that refuses, quite frankly, to be taken by anything other than the forest. And you're feeling right at home. As you get deeper into it, you do find an area where there seems to be a large congregation of these kind of smeared areas. Instead of just like one, and it almost seems to be like pointing a path through the marsh, one that can be smelt and seen. You see a large collection of them. And with your 21, you can see a number of large insects, easily as big as you are. Large wings that buzz about, a dark kind of brown and green, in a striped kind of pattern along kind of the thorax. They appear to be wasps of a significant size. As they, especially with your shield, you can see that they are moving around in this circle, almost at kind of the edge of where these kind of sticky, smeared bits of forest are, as they kind of buzz on over. As soon as they get towards kind of this large congregation of the Sat, they move back away from it, and then make another pass. Roll me insight real fast. Actually, animal handling.
17.
17. Yes, you know, especially from some of your travels and your time in the forest, that these are definitely giant wasps, nasty creatures, and that this area past where this kind of a number of these smeared plants are, that whatever this smear is warding off these giant wasps from continuing in.
Joel will look over to Freddy and say, I spotted some big old wasps down there. I mean, they're pretty much the size of me. They're nasty fuckers. I've seen them before. Not a sting that you want to get. But I have a feeling that I was just studying their pattern over there, and it looks like whatever this marking stuff is pretty pungent. I don't think they like it. That being said, we probably should close ranks with the other folks and try and not draw the attention of these giant wasps, but make it for that warded off area. Even if, yeah, especially if they do find us and swarm us, because they definitely like to do that shit. So
Yeah, it seems like maybe the stuff has a double purpose. It marks the way back, but also protects the way back.
I think you're right on that. Let's try and catch the eyes of Jasper and Rornak.
Now Jasper's kept her eyes trained on them, kind of keeping pace and not moving any further forward. So she sees you looking over and comes on back.
Give me the good old lap signal for comeback.
The middle finger? Or...
Exactly.
It
That's
it's
I love you.
gesturing towards you, but with
Oh,
the
right,
middle
right.
finger. Yeah.
And same thing for Rornak if he didn't get the message to come on back, Joe would wave him over.
Yeah. Seeing that, Rornak would make his way to the group.
All right, I just filled in Freddy on this, but there's some giant wasps out there, and I've been following this yellow stuff, and me and Freddy thinks that whatever scent's coming off here probably is warding off those things. So we probably should keep it tight here. That way, none of us, well, y'all over there, not so close to this pungent smelling stuff, don't get swarmed. So that's why we called you in. So I suppose we should make a move on it. You guys doing all right? You look pretty tired. It's a little tough terrain, not the cobble streets of Mulemaster.
Yeah, this mud fucking sucks. She swats a mosquito.
Rornak would lift the mask to wipe his sweat and just say, "I'm a little out of my particular element here."
Well, try it. Try mucking through all this mud when you're, just shy of 4 feet. And let me know how that is. But no need to compare struggles or anything. Let's keep this party train rolling.
I see he's getting in the spirit of Mole Master. That was a good one.
I've got some vinegar in me. Don't you worry.
So what do we want to do? Get within sprinting distance and then just rush for the marks, or
Maybe that's Plan B. If we can be real quiet, like, and they seem to be almost like I don't know, maybe patrolling in a weird way, going through their territory. So maybe we can time it while they're furthest away from the warded area, and we can start making our move. And then if they get trained on us, go off to the warded area and work our proverbial magic on them as best we can from a distance.
deal?
Joe, they're 21. You and especially now, Joe's able to point out these giant wasps, and now that you guys are looking up there, you can see that he's not kidding. Those some big ass fucking wasps. With your 21, you see that there appears to be, at least in this neck of the woods, about 5 of them. They seem to go in pairs of two staying relatively close to this area, then 2 break off and fly for a whiles away, while there's one who kind of keeps near the boundary of this. So you guys are looking at, as you're kind of approaching, it's about 100 feet straight till you get to kind of the barrier of this muck. Like at that barrier, kind of flying up to it and flying back is a singular giant wasp. Then kind of in the middle ground, you'd probably say a solid 50 so feet away, a group of 4 in kind of pairs of 2 switch off from patrolling this area, and then kind of the other 2 flying around a barrier until they go out of sight. And they come back around, and the other 2 take off.
Gotcha. So there is one that's kind of stationed solitarily, is standing its ground. So we'll have to essentially go through at least one, right? Am I getting that right?
It's looking like this for this area. You might be able to sneak past and duck under this last one. The other 2 might be able to get in between a movement, but you'll have to either be fast or very sneaky to get past this last one. While you might be able to circumvent and go around the kind of group that's circling, there's this last one. You'll either have to sneak or rush through or kill very fast, whichever seems like the move to you.
We might end up having to bum rush that last one and try and push our advantage back into the warded area as much as possible. But I suppose we could try and swing wide and go around these folks, but I think that's even more dangerous considering we're close to a mark now, and who knows, we could, if we go too far afield, then it might be even more of them. So
Yeah, if we could, at the very least, quickly and easily take out one, it's a good advantage to take, and then make a break for the protected space after that.
sounds good to me. What about y'all? We're on it. Ready?
I mean, I'm not one for fighting in swamps, so I'm just gonna follow the lead and do my best to do what I do.
Well, whichever way we really think is the most efficient, so I trust your judgment on this one, Jove.
All right. Sounds like we start quiet. Things get hot. We bum rush the one between us and the warded area, burst it down quick, and then we'll see how much they don't like the smell of this stuff, and roll with it as we do.
Okie dokie. So, what's the marching order here?
Probably Joe first, since he
Yeah.
has the slowest moving speed.
Okie
Me
dokie.
last.
You sure?
I mean, we just came from behind us. It's like, yeah. I feel like our stuff is in front of us here.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
It's just more about movement speed, but yeah, if that's what you want.
That's true. Because y'all do move fast. Okay, I'll go second.
I'll go third.
And I will go fourth.
Okie dokie. So, Jove, it's about 100 feet to get to like the, imagine it almost like a finish line, like to get past the barrier, where it seems that there's a number of these kind of trees, each one with the kind of marking that creates kind of this, whatever this substance is, that is keeping these giant wasps at bay. You could think of it as like that. That's where the line is, to where this giant wasp seems to be refusing to fly past. I believe you're trying to do this real sneaky like.
That's plan A.
All right, Jove, go ahead. We'll do the kind of hybrid initiative skill check that we do. So, Jove, we'll start with you in initiative first. Go ahead and roll stealth as you begin making your way forward.
Gotcha. And I'm wearing scale mail still, so I'm doing so at disadvantage. Okay, not bad. Okay, that's a 16.
A 16? Yeah, you get your full 25 feet. You being a little bit more at home in the flooded forest than most, find that in this place, that sometimes being small is to your advantage. As you see Jove kind of creep and crawl and use his short stature to kind of go over some of like roots that have grown up, and he's able to kind of duck underneath it, and so you may get a full 25 feet unnoticed. All right, then I'll say since you're good for right there that you successfully move your movement, then it would be Freddy next. Unless you want to take an action or prepare something. Jove?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm right there.
Gotcha. Freddy. If you're following suit, make your stealth check.
Yeah. Here I go. Just making sure there's nothing special I can do here. Oh god, it was almost on a good number. 10.
10. You get about halfway, 15 feet out, before your foot steps into part of the flooded forest that is deeper. And there's a... Let's see if the giant wasps notice. The one is still focused on trying to get through the barrier, so each one will roll perception. One of those is a crit fail. The other one is a 15, as one of the giant wasps notices you, Freddy, and begins to buzz and head towards your direction. It's got a flying speed of 50 feet, so it can't quite get to you. It's about 5 feet away, but that's where we're going to roll initiative.
Okie dokie. Does that count as an ability check?
For exhaustion.
For exhaustion, I don't think don't think initiative counts as an ability check, but let me double check.
For fuck's sake.
Sorry.
Ugh, the laps are rolling like garbage today.
Oh yeah, no, I've rolled like 1 or 2 above 10, I think.
Yeah, I rolled a not great initiative too.
Okay,
Glad
yes.
that a lot of my rolls at the start were
Exhausted does indeed make you roll initiative at disadvantage.
Oof.
Yay.
Well, my first roll couldn't get much worse, so.
Sometimes there's, only going up from here.
Say that out loud.
We're crit fishing the wrong way right now.
Yeah.
I have food waiting for me. I have to run and get it
Oh.
real quick.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Oh, no.
I rolled a 19 and then a 3.
No.
Oh, it's hard to watch.
So that's a 6.
Okay, so 828 6. Wow. The story tells itself. Okay, so
Job just over here like, what's the problem?
Come on, guys. It's just a bog.
I thought we were on the same page.
I'm back.
oh yeah. Rory/Jasper, which one of you guys wants to go first? Player's choice.
Since Freddy is the one getting rushed by a wasp, I think Jasper really wants to go first.
That's fine with me.
Okay, so at the start of initiative, we'll say since you guys are discovered, notice that the one wasp gets its full movement speed, and then we'll start at the top of the initiative. So, Freddy, the giant wasp that is heading immediately in your direction, is probably about 5 feet away and then 5 feet up, just out of melee range of you. So you're just out of it, so you can, if you get to go first, you'll be able to move. Jove, you are probably 10 feet forward from this. The wasp has not noticed you with your successful stealth check. And actually, real quick, can I have... No, it's fine, it's fine. Jove, you currently are hidden. You're actually first.
Oh, awesome. Well, fuck. Seeing that.
Yeah, you hear this, you sneak, you get underneath it, you come out from underneath this big roots, and then you look back and you see Freddy, and you guys you give him the nod, and Freddy, you start going through, and then just steps forward, finds a deeper part of it, and just a boosh, and then a zzz, as this Job-sized wasp begins to make a wasp line for Freddy.
Well, I think
Wow.
Yeah, we all heard it.
we all heard it. It's plan B time. So, Jove, standing from where he is right now, is going to let loose a javelin at the one that's in front of Freddy.
Go ahead. Make the Takarole. A Takaruni.
Is that advantage since he's hidden?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice.
I needed that. Ooh. I think that does it. That's a 14.
A 14. Do it.
Beautiful. I'm going to use one of my favored foes. Uses of favored foe just to add the d4 damage.
With the new Piercer feat, brought to you by Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, I believe, or Xanathar's, I'm not sure. But the new improved javelin throw.
Yeah. I don't even need to re-roll it though. So I got, let's see here. That is going to be for 12 piercing.
Yeah, you, from, basically underneath this root, you pop up and throw the javelin, and it pierces from behind, into the thorax. It almost getting, once again, the double kebab on an enemy, where it pierces through one area and pierces another part of them, but stops ever so slightly. You can see the whole body of this thing beginning to drop. It is heavily damaged. Only a few more inches, just a little more oomph, and you may have been able to skewer the whole thing.
Then Jove will move his 25 feet forward to get to 50 of the 100 feet.
Absolutely. As you continue to make your way through. Jove, that's your turn. Then, after Jove, is the wasp by the wall. Does it notice this? No, not currently. So it will spend its turn going after it. However, the other wasp does notice you, Jove. And so we'll begin to make a wasp line for Jove and try to get you with the stinger. That is a 17 to hit.
Jove will put up his shield and just barely be able to get the stinger across the face of the shield.
Yeah, there's a loud, zzz, thunk, just a really solid, almost like the sound of a bat hitting a baseball. Thunking crack noise. And Jove, it takes your whole body weight, but luckily the ground almost absorbs part of the impact, as you're able to hold from the stinger. Just barely not able to make it through. However, that's its turn. The wasp that is going after you, Freddy, whilst with a javelin in it, is going to finish its dive and make the attack. So, however, with the whole javelin in it, it throws off the momentum of it, and with the crit fail going at full speed at a downward angle, it misses you and drives the rest of that javelin through its body.
I'm gonna take a credit on that assist.
Yeah, Freddy, you see it coming, and like at first you're like, "Oh, this is coming in way too fast. I'm about to get skewered." And then you see one of Joe's javelins pierce through it. It throws it off, and you turn your body to the side, and like a falling helicopter, just whoop, 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 pew. And as it hits, it drives more of the javelin through between its crumpled wings, the damage from being pierced through its main part of its body, and then shoving it the rest of the way through its body. It just and then floats like a couple inches up on the water. And then it is
Gross.
Jasper's turn.
Beautiful.
So how far is Rory from me right now? Or not Rory, sorry, Freddy. Or
Fred-
Jove.
Jove?
Up there.
You got there. Jove has moved a full 50 feet from you.
Alright.
Freddy's probably 15 feet.
Yeah. She is going to move. I think she's going to dash so that she can get up behind this wasp. So that on Jove's next turn he can get a good attack off.
You got that cunning action then, right?
Oh shit. Thank you for reminding me. I'll use my
Ooh.
bonus action to do that.
With bonus
and you-
action, was it the double dash? Or just the dash?
Just a dash,
Absolutely.
so that I can get flanking on this motherfucker, and pull out the battle axe and shield, and take a swing.
Yeah.
Rogues are so good.
Running from... It's almost as if you see the shade of the flooded forest. The light casting just tons of shadows all over, and it's almost as if running from shadow to shadow makes you faster. And indeed, with a burst of speed and quickness that Jasper has not showed in the past, moves the full 50 feet, and with time to spare begins to make an attack at the wasp attacking Jove. Go ahead and make an attack.
Would love to. Woo! Yeah, that's gonna be a 25 to hit.
Yeah, that'll do.
Sneak attack included. That's going to be 13 slashing.
13. How do you want to do this?
Yeah.
She's going to just take off the thorax of it as she's running by.
You still have 30 feet of movement left.
Yeah, she's gonna take it.
Yeah.
Just towards the finish line.
like Naruto running through the flooded forest.
Beautiful.
You find the pathway, and leaping off of the top part of the branch, the root that Jove had gone underneath. You sail through, and with almost kind of a small spin and your axe ready, you just slice this wasp in half. Jove, you feel immediately the weight disappear as this wasp crumples into two pieces by you with the two small splashes. And Jasper, you just continue your momentum moving forward, a whole 80 feet. The next wasp only 20 feet in front of you. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
Rory.
Alrighty. Is the wasp that was near Freddy still alive, or is it now
No.
just dead?
No,
in
it
the
is now
water?
dead.
Okay. Okay. Which one is the nearest then? Because I believe Jasper just took out the one that was on.
Yeah, the nearest one that you can see at this moment would be like 95 feet away.
95. Okay. I think Rory will take, 'cause these things can move pretty quick. I'll move the 40 in that direction, and then Rory will actually take out one of his endless amount of darts that he has, and I will hold an action to throw it if it gets within 20 feet of me.
Absolutely. Then it is Freddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep moving forward and hold a firebolt for if it starts coming this way once it gets in range.
Absolutely. Then back at the top, it's Jove. You can see 45 feet away from you is another wasp. However, with your passive of 17, Jove, you can see that two more of these giant wasps are coming back around from their kind of rotation after the quick movements. So you see that two are incoming from your right.
Jove is going to look back at Rornak and Freddy, and he's gonna like point out his spear to the right, and continue 25 feet forward on the same line that Jasper was running, and yeah, Jove is gonna go ahead and just let loose a javelin into the back of the one that's kind of just sitting at the finish line.
Go ahead and make an attack.
Ooh, I don't know. That's only a 12.
A 12 just hits.
Oh. Right. Nice. For Max is 11.
11, yeah, you javelin this one. This one, it clears all the way through its thorax. You can see, you can actually see through the thorax of this one. While still alive, also incredibly heavily damaged from that attack, Jove.
And yeah, Jove will call it there.
All right, then it is its turn. As it looks back, and there's Jasper, there's Jove. Both pretty close. Oh gosh, it's gonna go after whoever's threw that. Whoever threw that javelin, your mom's a hoe. So that's gonna be you, Jove. So it does move. So Rory and Freddy.
Yeah.
Both of your guys' held actions would go off as it begins to fly towards Jove.
Nice.
Feel free. Go for it. Let me hear them dice rolls.
First I'm gonna do a performance.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. So that's only a 10. So in a kind of bad impersonation of Zan Zan. Fry off, man. And I'm gonna just like pluck one string because it's not like one of my songs, but I'm gonna pluck a string. It's just gonna like send a spark out, and I catch the spark and I just chuck it at the wasp. As I do a firebolt for 13.
For 13, 13 does hit.
And I also rolled a 15 for my dart.
15 also hits.
Nice.
3 fire.
And does how much fire?
3 fire.
And then how much for the dart?
6 piercing.
6 piercing. Yeah, absolutely. Rory, you throw out your dart and it pierces the wings of this giant wasp, like, and stops its flight, like, midair as it kind of, like, has the inertia continues to have it travel forward, only to then be hit immediately by this firebolt from Freddy, and the whole thing just, with an audible, you literally pop this giant wasp.
Nice. It's bad I wanted to quote the Power Rangers movie after I heard that.
Well, now you have to do it.
Double whammy, you're on.
+1.
Thank you.
All those wasps are dead, so then it's Jasper's turn.
So the one that went after Jove is toast now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jove hit it with the javelin as you were running towards it, and then you see it go after Jove, and then you look just to your right to see a flash of metal as Rory throws a dart and catches it in the wings immediately by a spark of flame, that you haven't seen before. Just suddenly the thing erupts into a thing of fire and pops. And there's no balloons that you've ever seen in the typical sense, I would suppose. So, yeah, in actual, for everybody, all parties included here, I think you've never seen a creature pop that way before. It's a unique noise. Everybody's like, I've never heard that sound before.
How far away is Freddy right now?
From you?
Yeah.
He would be 65 feet away.
Okay. I think she's going to. She's gonna move back towards him about 15 feet. And she's gonna pull out. She's gonna stash her battle axe and pull out a hand axe. And hold an attack for the next wasp that gets in anyone's grill.
Okie dokie. Which is perfect because one of the wasps coming from the right side is going to head towards. Yeah, is gonna head towards Freddy. So go ahead, Jasper.
I'll be disadvantaged since it's in my long range. It's a good start. Bad ending. Yeah, it goes wide.
Goes wide. That's gonna make a sting attack against Freddy. That is a 9.
That misses.
Doesn't do indeed miss. Then it is Rory's turn.
Alrighty. I don't know that I can get in range of it for melee, so I might just get close to 20 feet if I can, just to throw another dart.
With your full movement, because you did the 40. Oh yeah,
If I even have to throw disadvantage, I do it, but yeah.
To get within 20 of the one from Freddy? Yeah, no, you can do that.
Cool. I will do my attack.
Go for it.
And that's a 16.
A 16 does hit.
And that's for another 6 piercing.
6 piercing. Yeah. It now has a dart sticking out of its not thorax. Another one of the sections of the bugs that I don't care to look up.
It got hit by a goddamn dart, you know?
It got hit by a goddamn dart.
Dang head.
The darn did dart.
The darn dart.
Yeah. That
Found
and that'll
locally
be all
at your
for
Oxford
me.
Tavern.
Yeah, because I'm not close enough for the bonus attack, so that's all.
Gotcha. Then the other giant wasp is gonna fly in at you, Yove. All right. Let's switch up the dice. Let's see if I can get anything by switching that. 18?
That does it. He tries to put up the shield again, but it doesn't work this time.
Yeah, this time, it's the back-to-back full body weight of these things. They don't seem to have, they throw their whole being into it. This one finally manages, it hits the shield, slides off the side of it with so much momentum, and then pierces in. That's going to be, you take 6 points of piercing damage, and make a Constitution saving throw against poison damage.
Get wrecked.
Happy to roll with my stout resilience. Thank God I did. Oh my God. Rolled a 2 and a 4 for 7.
That's a failure. Wow.
Damn it.
Okay, you take full damage.
Well, I still have. If it's poison damage, I still have resistance to
So you
poison
take half
damage.
You will take half of 12, and so that's going to be 6 points of poison damage, and you are, you're not poisoned.
Got some sweet poison damage on me.
Yeah, that is some sweet poison damage. So just 6 points of poison damage. 6 piercing, 6 poison.
I hate it.
As it gets you, we'll say as it slides off of your shield arm, it pierces deep into kind of like your chest, underneath your heart, and you can feel just immediately the flood of the venom of this creature just entering your body. And even with your resilience, it feels like your veins are on fire. It's like this liquid burning that is just spreading through your body, like alcohol that keeps burning and never stops, kind of like that fire brandy, but the worst, and through your chest instead of your stomach.
Ugh.
Okay, then it's Freddy's turn.
All right, I've got one right next to me.
You do. It has been hit with a fucking dot.
Yeah. Just checking. Yeah, okay. I'm going to stab it with my rapier.
Stab it with the rapier. Make your attack.
20.
20 will hit.
It's you.
Yeah, I did a roll. 7. 7 piercing.
Nice.
How do you want to do this?
Oh, I love killing bugs with my rapier.
You got the yeah. 7 is what you needed.
I'm really proficient at killing bugs with stabby weapons. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna reach up with it, stab it, and just slam it into the mud.
And just with a fluid grace, like it's just the whoo, whoo, whoo. Like it's all one arm motion too. Like no wasted energy, just like a conductor's wand, just out, up, in, down. Done.
Then I sheath it back up and take out my spell book.
And you turn back and you have your full movements, and there you see Jove, what is it, 60 feet away, currently wrestling with a giant wasp, and Rory and Jasper in between. Besides
Well,
that, field looks clear.
Start to move that direction then.
You move 30 feet that away. Then it goes back to the top with Jove. This thing just fucking stung you.
Jove is gonna try and bash it off his shield, and he'll take out his Ethereum spear. Very Spartan-like in the phalanx. So try and stab him with the pointy end. Ooh, yay! That is 22.
That'll hit.
I'll use my second use of favored foe to just add the D4. Nice. Keep rolling high on my D6. I want to re-roll one of these for Piercer, but I don't need to. Let's see here, that is for 13.
Yeah, for 13, how do you want to do this?
So Jove will, bash out with the shield to try and expose its underbelly, and he is going to get it right in that kind of center of mass, and it's really a one fluid motion of the shield going out, the spear following in kind of a downward arc, and then just pinning it straight to the ground. And just for a little flair, he takes the edge of the shield and just bashes it across the face and kind of steps on it and pulls out a spear. And we'll move the remaining 25 feet to get to that 100-foot marker.
As Jove, as you finish this part off, the rest of the party, you all begin running towards the marked area, and as you all kind of
Jasper's actually gonna run back real quick and grab that hand axe. But yeah.
Jasper with Jasper running back, grabbing the hand axe, with using moving at you need all 120 feet. You need 120 feet of movement speed. How could you possibly?
I got this.
Runs back, retrieves a hand axe, and right as Freddy, you cross the barrier, and Jasper only moments behind, you can see another pair of these giant wasps coming in, and they fly towards you. And as they kind of hit this heavily salved area, they stop and go back. Now just kind of making flybys towards that area, occasionally seeing you going for kind of the dive bomb and then going back. You've made it past the barriered area.
Woohoo! Well done, everyone.
God, I hate bugs,
Oh.
especially ones that are big as me. Fuck.
Ooh,
Stinger's
yeah.
not as big as mine though, so that's okay.
You look like you're bleeding a bit there. Roy, do you think you can patch him up?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm out of the potions, but can do a little bit of the old trick if you need it, friend.
I wouldn't mind it. Don't want this festering out here.
And Rory will take a big, deep breath in as you are healed for. Let's see. Sorry, that's only 3 HP.
Hey, so that's the difference between being on your feet and not on your feet. Jove will kind of say, "Oh, I appreciate that. You said you're out of the health potions, and I pilfered one from our last adventure and still had that big one you gave me. So, for your trouble, and he'll give you one, just regular potion of healing."
Much thanks, and good to know. I couldn't remember if you had used that potion or not, so glad that that's still available for us.
Yeah, I've still got one of them as well, but potions can be good in dire situations. I didn't want to just toss them around willy-nilly.
We must be siblings. I have 5 of them, but I didn't want to use it.
Oh my god,
You
bruh,
got 5?
I had
Bruh.
5 on
Jesus.
I had 5
Bruh.
catacombs too. Like, this isn't new.
if this
You didn't ask.
ain't the
You son of a bitch.
guy out of context, if this isn't the most RPG party of like, no, I can't use this item. What if I need it later? And then you never ever use your healing item.
We're gonna take these all the way
Pure
to the end
magic.
of class.
This can literally, like, if we're out of spell slots and out of healing points, these can be used to just get somebody up on their feet. I like to save it for more dire situations, like Lapis just said.
Now I know, in case of emergency, there are 5 potions. on
There's always
Freddy's
healing
body.
potions on the bard. There's always healing potions on the bard.
Literally, the first thing I did when we got back to town was I went back to the general store to fill up on my potions again.
Well, terrific.
Yeah.
Glad to know we're looking pretty. on
Yeah,
that.
cool part about being in a big city like Mulmaster is that you can actually find healing potions.
It took some Deathsquitos for us to communicate that as a party, but you know, we got there.
We finally got there.
As you take a quick breather and trade and gain and regale each other about the number of healing potions the odd jobs have in their possession. Jove, you can immediately see easy to follow signs of what appears to be both humanoid tracks and appears one sort of pack animal.
Alrighty, folks. Looks like the trail picks up over here. I just want to say this now, when we're making our return trip back. Might be a good idea to try and wipe some of that yellow stuff or whatever on an article of clothing, and maybe we can carry it across with us just in case there's more wasps or what have you. But that's for a later problem. It looks like we got humanoid and some pack animal tracks, so we must be close. And Jove will try and start, blazing the trail.
Yeah, absolutely. This one requiring no extra survival skills as you follow the tracks deeper in the.
Do we want to resume our old formation?
Smooth out one.
I say sure.
With the Jove and Freddy, and then the 35 feet on each side.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you spread out, letting Jove and Freddy kind of lead and set the pace for the party. You travel, another 10 or so minutes in, and it raises this own slightly raised, almost like a small island in the middle of the flooded forest. More flat here, the roots of this great plant system creating kind of a natural barrier here from some of the rest of the bog. And as you kind of slowly crest to this small kind of raised island in the flooded forest, you see a small encampment. 4 threadbare tents. A small fire in the very center of it. Only embers, the smoke barely wisping up, immediately grayed out in kind of the expanse of overcast sky above the flooded forest. And there you see a number of individuals in dark brown cloaks. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Ooh.
You
Hmm.
found them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah. GG's, everybody. That was good. That was fun.
Agreed.
GG, well done, party. Well, we will have to find out what's going on with these bandits in the flooded forest. What are they up to? What are they doing? And what is the party about to do to them?
Some mad shit.
Some mad shit. Well, let's say goodnight to chat.
Night
Good night,
chat.
chat.
Good night, chat.
Good night, chat. Thank you so much. Happy Father's/Daddy Day to all of you fathers and daddies out there, regardless of where you're at. Peace in Middle East. Much love. Bye-bye.